Coming up next on All About Android, it's me, Jason Howell, and I'm somewhere familiar. Joined by Ron Richards and Florence Ion, and we have a show for you. Flo actually has, as do I, the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, aka the next Note. Flo gives us her review. Also, a more private Android could be coming soon. Could the Nothing brand of smartphones, the one that hasn't actually been announced yet, could that possibly be the next Enthusiast brand? I don't know. We'll talk about that. Also, Shortwave is basically Google Inbox. Don't fold your OnePlus 10. Whatever you do, don't fold it. And we have a bunch of your email and a whole lot more next on All About Android.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Coinbase. Cryptocurrency might feel like a secret or an exclusive club, but Coinbase believes that everyone, everywhere should be able to get in the door. Whether you've been trading for years or you're just getting started, Coinbase can help. For a limited time, new users can get $10 in free Bitcoin when you sign up today at coinbase.com/AAA. Hello, welcome to All About Android. This is episode 566, recorded on Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. That would be, yes, for the millionth time today, 22222. It's unfortunate that today's episode number is 566, however, so it doesn't quite work with the two thing. But anyways, we're still your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
If you add 5, 6, 6 together, that's 11. It doesn't work either. Hi, I'm Ron Richards.
And I am Florence Ion, and I would like to be here on episode 666, please.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Totally.
we can figure that out.
We can make that happen. That's not too far away, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's not.
That's going to be...
That's next year, possibly, right? Or...
Probably.
Yes.
Yeah,
Android
maybe that's
14.
2 years out, possibly. But still, okay.
Also crazy that this is episode 566.
I know.
Just that's crazy alone. Oh
yeah,
my
when we
God.
stop to slow down to think about how many episodes we've done, it is kind of crazy. I will say the other show I do for Twit, Tech News Weekly, last week's episode was, in fact, episode 222. So it's kind of unfortunate that TNW doesn't record on Tuesdays and started 1 week later, because if so, then we'd be episode 222.
Had you known,
had
you
we
guys
looked
weren't
forward,
prepared.
yeah, just didn't know. It would have been worth delaying the launch for a week in order to make it happen. But
well, despite it, the numbers not lining up, it is 22222, and it is so nice to see you 22222. And not only to have Flo back on the show, but Jason, you are in a very familiar spot that I have not seen for a while.
Yeah, remember the last time I returned to the studio after the long national nightmare being over, and then like 6 weeks later, I was back in the corner of my bedroom sulking.
Yep.
I barely remember.
I barely remember too. That's just the life we live right now. But yes, I'm back. They've lifted, for the most part, they lifted most of the mask mandates here in Sonoma County and in California at large. So here at the studio, I'm not triple vaxxed. I'm vaxxed and boosted, but I got the Johnson & Johnson the first time, so I don't know what you count that. But anyways, I'm allowed in, so they let me come in, and they didn't spray me with disinfectant on my way in, so I'm good.
That's good. And you found out that Burke has been living in the studio all this time, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. So
yep.
It was funny during the pre-show, and it's funny in the actual show. I stand by it.
That is the darkest Disney movie, too, BT dubs, Ron, for you to be bringing into this. And I don't know that I want to associate Burke with that, because I have a soft spot for Burke. Hi, Burke. You're my favorite.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Always make friends.
Yeah,
always makes friends with the receptionist, the maid, and Burke.
Yep. Burke pushes the buttons around here. You don't want to get on his bad side, as we've noticed through the Burke-Ron kind of kerfuffle that continues to this day.
Ron is apparently still learning.
I love Burke. The fact that I've known Burke as long as I've known him now, and even though it still feels like we're so far apart, both emotionally, but still, it's good. But Flo, let's change the subject. Flo, it's good to see you.
Yeah, good to have you back, Flo.
Yeah.
Hi guys. I'm just so happy that we can do this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I look forward to when I will overlap with our new co-host.
That's right. It's going to happen one of these days. It keeps, like, it's not even by design. It keeps just working out where one happens to be out and the other happens to be coming in. It'll happen one of these days. I promise.
Yeah, it definitely will. And you know what I'm really looking forward to, just because I want to get everybody hyped up for a little bit. Remember that the year is still just at the beginning. I know we're almost through February.
I don't know. It's almost a quarter of the way done.
The year is just still at the beginning.
Let's think about this in terms of we've got at least 2 months until Google I/O.
Oh,
so
true. You put it that way.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of stuff to look forward to, talking about, and analyzing and
as we talked about last week, Android 13 developer review preview or version 1 is out, right? So the wheels are turning on this year. Next thing you know, we'll be talking about the Hamon at Mobile World Congress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think isn't that next week?
I think it is. Yeah. So
it's so weird and surreal getting pitched on it because I'm not going and I'm not I still can't plan anything. My child remains unvaccinated because of not approved for her age group yet. So in my mind, nothing is happening, but it's very much the wheels are turning, things are happening, things will get announced the next couple of weeks, especially in this realm of Android.
Yeah.
So there's things to look forward to.
I'll be curious to see how the journalist activity around Mobile World Congress compared to CES, right? Because CES was a little early and there was still a lot of kind of hesitation. Now, a lot of things have changed, have shifted anyways, at least here in the U.S. So I wonder how that's going to impact Mobile World Congress. I'll have to look into seeing who we pull onto the show next week. Maybe someone that is there so they can talk about it.
Or at least they could talk about the Hamon.
That's really all we care about.
So before I know that we're and I apologize, listeners. I haven't seen Flo for a while. Flo, what are in your ears right now?
Oh, the Galaxy Buds 2.
I thought those were the Galaxy Buds 2. How are they working out?
I still love them. So TMI moment for a second here.
Okay.
I've been trying to figure out what's going on with my ears though, because I just found out recently, and you can go ahead and make fun of me for this, whatever. I'm giving you leeway. I just found out you're not supposed to use Q-tips in your ear.
Oh, Flo.
You're not? That's news to me.
No, no. Yeah, you're not supposed to, because if you have any ear wax in your ears, you end up just pushing it further and further in. You think you're getting it out, but you're actually compacting. Yeah, this happened to me. I might
be on a TLC show someday soon getting that extracted. I don't know. By the way, they do that, yes, now on reality TV.
Oh, that's gross. No one watched that show.
I know. It's like
the pimple poppers.
That is all to say. That is all to say that as comfortable as these are for falling asleep at night, I'm definitely cannot wear them after this show. I will not be able to wear them the rest of the night.
Yeah.
So it's I have to choose the timeline.
It's Ron's nightmare, is what you're talking about.
It is my nightmare. That's my number. That's exactly my nightmare. That's horrible.
I know.
Oh my God.
And I'm sorry. I'm actually, this is something I'm looking into because my itchiness has increased since I've been using more buds that go in the ear. Because I was always over the head cans person. So yeah, I guess I'm letting everyone know this TMI thing that I'm looking into right now.
You know what? I will see your TMI and I'll raise you TMI because sometimes misery loves company. I don't know how many years ago this was.
That's misery, by the way. Sorry.
I said misery. What did you think I said? Mystery or something? Yeah, misery. Anyways.
Back in the studio.
Anyways. No, you're right. About 5 years ago, I think, I actually went into the doctor because I was having a hard time hearing out of an ear. And it's exactly what you're talking about, Flo. They ended up doing this extraction. I'm not going to go into detail, but I will say, on the other end of it, it was a whole new world. I could hear, I had bionic hearing when I was done in that appointment.
Really? I should think about doing that. I should think about doing that because I cannot hear very well. And I use Q-tips and wow, I wonder if I should.
But you also spent your youth at some of the loudest.
Yeah,
places.
that's true.
I mean,
there are other.
I mean, Flo, spent my youth. I mean, you mean if by youth you mean into my 40s? Yeah.
He never grew up.
Man. Yeah, I feel so bad. I'll walk into the room, my kids will be watching TV, and I'll turn the volume up, and my wife will be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "You can't even hear it," and they'll be like, "Too loud."
Too loud. Too loud. Oh, you're my dad.
Yes,
you're my dad.
Oh my God.
That's my dad. I can hardly be in the room when he's watching TV for that very reason. Hey, why don't we talk about Android things?
We were just catching up, guys.
Yeah,
Okay?
totally.
You know, it's good for the show.
If we actually had comments on our YouTube channel, there would be one comment that said, 10:03 news begins, just for the people that are like, I don't care about your lives. I just want to know about Android. Anyways, so let's dive right in. But before we do, actually, I just want to say real quick, twit.tv/survey22. I'm saying it at the top of the show because then you're more likely to hear it potentially. But we're doing an audience survey. We only have 1 week left on this. And so... Oh, there's even music attached to it. That's okay. Yeah. Twit.tv/survey22. Take it real quick. It lets us know what you want, what you don't like about what we're doing, who you are. You can answer as much or as little as you want. It's very, privacy focused. It's really just to inform us about if we're doing a good job and if we could be doing a better job, how that could be done. So twit.tv/survey22. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, Burke. I know you've been itching to push the button. It's time for the news. He just sighed.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something about me losing all the privacy of the studio to somebody coming in now.
Oh,
and
there
it's
is.
like,
I
don't know what to do.
I feel that.
There's a correlation between the top story today and Burke losing the studio to people like
life?
me. Yeah, to life, to the opening of life, to spring. So I guess this was the big Android news of the week, is just that privacy changes are afoot for Android. Specifically, Google has been kind of working on how you balance the needs/desires of advertisers, which takes the form of targeting, and the needs of users. And what users are asking for a lot more is more privacy, right? They had something that they're still kind of conceptualizing for Chrome called Privacy Sandbox, and this was something that they introduced, I'd say, a little over a year ago as an idea, and it's still kind of in process, but as a way to eliminate or reduce, or I'm not really entirely sure, tracking cookies and cross-site tracking. Essentially what Google wants to do is they want to kind of cut down on the ways that we track in the very many problematic attachments and associations with tracking online, but still come up with a way that advertisers can target ads. And it doesn't sound like a very easy thing to do, but the big news this week was not about Chrome, it was about Android. Google basically announced like, hey, Apple did this thing called App Tracking Transparency. We want to do that too. And so we're going to bring this Privacy Sandbox thing over to Android. Although it kind of sounds like they're going to be doing it a little bit less, I don't know what the right word is. Apple really just like pulled off the Band-Aid, right? And so as a result, companies like Facebook lost a lot of money. Facebook blamed, a large part of their revenue drop to Apple's changes in app privacy. It's an opt-in system where basically an app asks you, can this app track you? And of course, if you're asked that as a user, oftentimes I think most users are probably going to be like, no, I don't want to be tracked. We're hearing all about how bad tracking is. I don't want that. And so they opt out. And as a result, all of these ad mechanisms fall apart. Google doesn't want to disrupt things that much, but they do want to change things. And that's about where my knowledge of what exactly they're creating ends, because it's really kind of early right now and a little bit confusing. Mm-hmm. But I appreciate the concept and the thought behind it. I'm curious to know what you guys think.
Yeah,
Flo?
It's appreciated, that they are doing this sort of, nice little, hey, look at us. We're like really thinking about your privacy. We're saying like what Apple is. Well, I guess I don't quite recall if there was mention of that, but obviously the underlying thought is there that this is just kind of where the industry is going. I did love the conversation last week around this, around Facebook/Meta, just what's been going on there, which has been a complete interesting
beep show.
Yeah. Because I really can't think of other words to describe it, unfortunately. Yeah. And but with regards to Google, you know, a lot of people were uttering like, well, they're really scared about, you know, what's going on with the antitrust hearings and trying to like make business happen overseas where things are tightening up a little bit more. So I think for the long term, this is probably the smart move.
Yeah.
It was the inevitable smart move. And, you know, I'm waiting for people to tell me like what's actually sinister about it, right? Because there's always some sort of edge.
Yeah, right. Everybody's always looking for the thing to kind of poke at and be like, either it's not good enough or it's, you know, they're saying it's one thing and it's actually something else. What do you think, Ron? Are you happy with at least knowing that Google is thinking in these ways as far as tracking?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't see how you can not be happy that they're at least not thinking about it in these ways. You know, like having lived through, you know, ancillarily lived through the Apple change and seeing that what that did to other, you know, kind of other partners and things like that. You see that what it has the effect on. Yeah. And it's like what you lose in revenue, you gain in user joy or user happiness or user protection, which is way more important than advertising revenue. But for me, it's just the underlying you know, proof that the the advertising revenue based model that all of this is built on is fundamentally flawed. Is that we want privacy and we want control and we want to be able to turn ads off and opt out and stuff like that. And guess what? That means that the companies don't make any revenue. You know, like it's just this weird, like, it's less for me. It's less about the privacy and more about the ad business side of it, because the privacy is a no-brainer. We want to give user privacy. We want to empower users. I find it fascinating when I think about the economy of this digital world that we live in, which, you know, is built on the economy of an advertising-based world that we were all raised in, right? Like, you know, admittedly, I'm a Gen Xer. You know, I know what the world was like before the internet, and you turned on the TV and you watched TV shows that had ads and ad breaks, and nobody really complained about them. You know, like it's just something that we lived with. Every magazine, every newspaper had ads in them. And now we're in this world where the digital, you know, kind of extension of this world was created, and they just replicated that old model. But guess what? Now the technology allows you to block ads or to opt out or to whatever. And now those revenues are plummeting, and we still haven't figured out an alternative. Right. And, you know, and so like, I just think that it's more indicative of how the economy of this entire digital world needs to evolve, rather than continuing to put Band-Aids around this outdated model that doesn't work, that doesn't match up with this technology. So I know I got a little more economics than privacy, but that's kind of where I fall.
No, I think going economics with this story is actually a huge part of the reason why it exists in the first place, right? Like, you know, at the end of the day, this is about capitalism. This is about making money. These advertisers, you know how valuable this data is. Ron Amadio over at Ars Technica, you know, the headline of his coverage of this, he calls this privacy sandbox toothless. And, you know, part of the reason for that is because, from my understanding and from his understanding, is that developers will be in a position to decide whether they support it or not. So it's kind of like, and who knows how this is going to develop over time, and, you know, because there isn't a whole lot of details to go off of here. But Ron seems to believe that, like, you know, if advertisers really wanted, you know, he makes the point, if they wanted to make a change, they could make that change today. He says advertisers don't actually need to wait for a technical solution to be finished, but Google isn't necessarily making this a mandatory shift. So how much of a change would it actually have once it launches? And maybe that's the differentiator between how Android is proposing to do something like this versus how Apple did it, which was really, like I said, pulling off the Band-Aid and just saying, nope, like, you're just going to have to kind of deal with it. And maybe that's what the industry needs. But Google's business is entirely, you know, they make most of their money off of search and ads anyway. So, you know, they've got a lot to lose if things change in a historic way. They want to be in control of some of this stuff. I'll just be curious to see how effective it is.
And that's the thing, is that they're trying to, it could almost be argued that Apple went too fast and hard, but in favor of the users and not in favor of the advertisers. And it seems like Google's trying to kind of have its cake and eat it too.
Yeah, totally.
And how successful is that in the digital world have we seen? I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Yep.
So there we go. Nothing that you're going to see immediately. This is kind of a story that's going to develop over time. I think they said there's going to be potentially a beta launch by the end of the year, was what one report said. Testing at a larger scale next year. So we're at least a year out from knowing what the form is that this is going to take, and then even further out to really understanding how much uptake is going to happen as a result of it. So we will see. We'll find out.
We will see. You know what else we're looking for? We're looking for more problems with the Pixel 6.
Because there have been so many. I mean, not with mine, but with a lot of other people's. It seems like all these problems haven't affected me, but they've affected plenty of other Pixel 6 owners.
I was thinking about that too when I was looking at the rundown today because, and we'll get to this in a bit. We're talking about Samsung. We'll get to this in a bit, actually. Let me save it for that. So we've still got some issues going on with the Pixel 6. The February security patch has actually resulted in some users having serious issues with Wi-Fi, which is an absolute no-no because a lot of us are still at home relying on said Wi-Fi to get the work done because the machine never stops turning. So the Wi-Fi problem, apparently, it shuts off randomly while the device is locked, and then it just simply does not turn back on at all. Now, Google says that this affects a small number of devices and that a fix will be included in the March update, and that's just around the corner, the month that is. We don't know if the update is just around the corner, but it's implied. Some folks have found that the issue is fixed by installing the Android 12L Beta 3 build, but that's not accessible for everybody. So I guess just wait a couple of weeks at this point.
Yeah, only another couple of weeks, and then all the problems are going to be solved for the Pixel 6. Just you wait and see.
What's so funny is that this I do believe that this is affecting a small number of people because I'm on the Pixel 6 and I haven't seen this. I mean, Jason, have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen this.
Yeah.
But actually, I should correct though. I think now I ended up getting the automatic beta update for the Android 12L Beta 3. So I don't even think I'm on this update anymore. The 12L Beta 3 doesn't have this issue. So that's why I'm not seeing it.
But I will say I've not turned back on 5G in fear of battery drain. And in fact, I was laughing when I was out earlier this month. I was on LTE the whole time because I'm like, I'm traveling. I don't want my battery to drain on Pixel 6. But I'm like, I wonder if that's even fixed or not. And I thought about turning it back on, but I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to stay on LTE. And guess what? I didn't even know. LTE is just fine. It is so fast. I don't need 5G. So there you go. But
shouldn't have to be that way.
But we haven't heard anything about them fixing that issue, right?
Yeah.
Did I miss something? No,
not that I've heard. Who the heck knows at this point? At this point, we're closing in on 6 months after the release of the device, right? Has it already been almost 6 months? It was out at the end of October, right? So November, December, January, February, March. Okay, so we're closing in on 5 months, but still.
So in the chat room, Scooter Extra says, my Pixel 6 Pro is at 80% battery right now. Let's play this game. My Pixel 6 is at 63% battery after unplugging it at roughly 7 a.m. this morning.
84%.
84%, not bad, Burke. There you go.
51%.
But my 5G isn't working.
51%.
51%.
Ooh, why is yours at 51%? Do you have 5G turned on?
I always have 5G turned on.
Oh, but that problem doesn't exist on the Pro. It just exists on the 6, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like 51% at this time of day is pretty darn good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not always like that.
Today.
Yeah, it's not always like that. But yeah, I don't encounter battery issues with the 6 Pro. I mean, I have never not made it to the end of the day. And really at the end of the day, that's the only metric that I really care about, right? Like as long as it makes it from the charger in the morning to the charger at night, I don't care if it's like at 1% and I'm laying down for bed. If it's at 1% and I still get it on the charger, great. It made it. That's all I really care about. So
Yep.
But anyways.
All right. Well, so from the category of anticipated devices, Carl Pay's startup Nothing might be releasing a phone this year.
Oh.
Carl Pay teased on Twitter last week, quote unquote, back on Android. And Android and Snapdragon Twitter accounts then jumped into his replies, talking about a future Nothing smartphone. And back in November, CEO and VP of Nothing India, Manu Sharma, hinted at 5 products currently in development. And it's easy to think that one of those would be a phone, especially considering Nothing bought Essential, or what was left of Essential, in 2020. So good question. With all the sparkle falling off of OnePlus, could Nothing replace OnePlus as the next enthusiast brand? I don't know. Flo, what do you think? Are you excited for the Nothing phone? Or is it going to be a lot of nothing?
I just don't know what is happening with this little clique of phone people. That's
little clique of phone people.
Well, because the three of us, we kind of can look a little more inward on this stuff than, just like the average person reading this article. And so I kind of know, like, in my head, these brands that all worked with each other, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Because what I'm trying to say is that, and again, we'll get into this in the Samsung portion, but I am trying to decide like what my phone would be this year. And I'm having a hard time because I loved the last 2 OnePluses, and like Carl Payne is not there anymore. He's talking about finally doing things with the Nothing, but I'm just like, where are you going to pull in that prowess from? Because at least OnePlus had the backing of, the big Oppo. To kind of like pull from.
And now they're one and the same, really.
Yeah. And look how long it took Google. I mean, first we had the Nexus, and then they scrapped that. Let's start it over, do the Pixel. And it took them, 6 years to kind of like get to this place where they knew what they were doing. So we need to move a little faster, Carl.
Yeah, you're not creating a phone that you haven't announced fast enough.
I understand. Okay, let's supply chain issues aside, in all seriousness.
Yeah, totally. That's a big issue.
I understand all this teasing going on, but like,
yeah,
they moved a little faster when OnePlus was around. Where's this Nothing?
Yeah, I suppose that was probably you're probably right. That probably had to do with the Oppo or Oppo, however you say that, relationship. That it seemed like for quite a few years it was this like secret, kind of like the people in the know that OnePlus and Oppo are related in some way, but
exactly.
But it really wasn't talked about until suddenly it was, and now it's like you can't even ignore or deny it because like they've literally merged forces. So it's so there was probably some extra expertise and manufacturing pipeline and all that stuff in place for OnePlus to do what it did. But Carl Pay has a pretty solid solid resume. He was pretty, he was pretty important in the OnePlus story, and it's not like he doesn't have a hardware company. They've basically mentioned that Nothing is going to create a lot of hardware. They bought Essential, so that tells me that there is smartphones somewhere in the in the future.
I forgot about Essential, and that they had bought that tattered, worn down, poor leftover barn of things.
Oh, yes. Barn of things was the pile of Essential, but there was some good innovation in that pile of things. I think they probably got some stuff with value that will help them in launching a smartphone. I just don't know when that's going to be. But I do think that the question that you asked, Ron, like. Yeah. I think if Nothing comes out with a smartphone, it's got to be a compelling smartphone, right?
Sure.
But OnePlus has really left a vacancy in the enthusiast kind of smartphone world. And I could totally see, Carl Pay being attached to Nothing, a company that's already launched. It was a pair of headphones, whatever. But, it was a pair of headphones that was a little bit different than what everybody else was doing. So there's enough ingredients there that I would be super curious to see if that's what Nothing becomes something.
Oh, I'm 100% with you. I think that, the headphones, while in ear and not on my radar, I thought were interesting enough. Like, I want to see what else they do with the phone. And going back to the essential thing, if the India CEO said that they've got 5 devices in the pipeline, so obviously one being a phone, but knowing that they got Essentials assets, do you think that we'll see what was supposed to be the essential Google Home home device
right.
that never got released,
right?
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I would be really interested, like, if Nothing, instead of just rolling out headphones, that a phone and doing a slow and iterative, they're like, boom, here is the Nothing ecosystem, and it's the phone, it's the home device, it's a TV, it's like, it's all these kind of things, and make a big, a big kind of splash, right? Because if you look at it, I'm looking up how much they've raised. I can't imagine that when you type, so Nothing has raised 50 million as of October 21. They raised another 50 million.
Another 50 million.
Yeah, so their total funding is 74 million to date. So, Flo, you talk about like the gravitas or the clout of having Oppo behind them or something like that. Hand somebody $74 million to go make stuff. That will go pretty far.
But will it? For some reason, I'm hearing that.
Even with hardware being hardware, I do think that they, So.
I don't think that takes you to the point to where Nothing can release an entire family of devices and say, here's your whole ecosystem. I think they need I would guess, I guess I've never worked in this facet of the industry, but for whatever reason, $71 million or whatever it is, doesn't sound like a whole lot when you're trying to launch a successful kind of new smartphone, flagship smartphone and everything. Like maybe one device, maybe a smartphone, but not a smartphone and the rest of all the other devices. They probably have to be sure that their whole channel to bring that one device to market is ironed out enough and solid enough before they can start bringing out the other stuff. That's just a guess that I have, though. But
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm excited,
but I'm totally interested in whatever they have, whatever they can come up with. But again, we're totally speculating. This was literally off a tweet.
We know nothing.
We know nothing. We know nothing about nothing. This is from a tweet that Carl Pei put out there that basically just said, I like Android. That's about all it said, and it led to a lot of speculation on a lot of different sites, and we're included in that. But it's fun,
and he knows that he has an effect that.
Yeah,
too.
You're right.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
So true. All right, well, let's take a break and thank the sponsor of this episode of All About Android, and then we can get back and we can get to, I would say, the main event, which is, Flo, you reviewed the S22 Ultra, and I actually have it. I just got it like yesterday, so I've hardly done anything with it, but I'm super curious to hear what you have to say about that. We can jump into that after this break. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Coinbase. You've heard of Coinbase, right? Cryptocurrency, it's all the rage. Everybody's talking about it. Where can you buy cryptocurrency, everything? Well, Coinbase is a name that comes up very often when you hear about this. Do you identify yourself as crypto curious, would you say? Right? Maybe you don't own crypto, but you're very curious about why everybody's talking about why the Super Bowl had tons of cryptocurrency advertisements. If you thought about entering the world of cryptocurrency, but maybe you feel a little overwhelmed about it, well, Coinbase actually makes learning to buy and sell very simple. They really do. Their app is fantastic. Backed by the world's leading investors, Coinbase keeps your portfolio safe and secure while adding, yes, crypto into your mix. Coinbase offers a trusted and easy-to-use platform so you can buy, you can sell, you can spend cryptocurrency. They also support the most popular digital currencies on the market and make them accessible to everyone. It's really easy. You open up the app, you can do a search. If you read about a new cryptocurrency, you can do a search. Whether they actually offer it or not, you're probably going to find it in the search, and you can kind of start to track, the ups and the downs of that particular currency. But you're going to find a lot of those that they actually offer, that you can actually buy and sell and spend through the app, the Coinbase app. They offer portfolio management and protection, also learning resources, really great ways to actually learn about the different types of cryptocurrency that are out there, and a mobile app which is the one that I'm talking about. So you can trade securely and monitor your crypto all in one place. So you can keep tabs on your portfolio right from there. Millions of people in over 100 countries trust Coinbase with their digital assets. Whether you're looking to diversify, maybe you're just getting started, or maybe you're searching for a better way to access crypto markets, well, you can start today, and that's with Coinbase. For a limited time, new users can actually get $10 in free Bitcoin when you sign up today. Just go to coinbase.com/AAA. Super important that you use that URL. That tells Coinbase that you heard about it through All About Android. And we really appreciate if you do that. You can sign up at coinbase.com/AAA. Very easy to remember. And you'll get $10 in free Bitcoin when you do that. This offer is for a limited time only. So be sure to sign up today to check that out. That's coinbase.com/AAA. See full terms at coinbase.com. And we thank Coinbase for their support and their new sponsorship of All About Android. It's really great to have you guys on board. So thank you. All right. And without further ado, we got a lot of hardware this week. So let's do it.
Ultra. Nothing better than when you guys have the hardware in hand.
Oh, wait a minute. Check this out. What? Scooter X just pointed out. It's the S22 on 2/22/22.
There it is.
Oh my God.
There it is.
Didn't even plan that, but that's awesome, Scooter X.
Or did we, Jason?
Sorry. Yes, we did.
And also, as you can see, as Flo holds the phone up for our video viewers watching the phone, the Samsung Galaxy S22 features 22 holes on the back of the phone, filled with lenses and lights and connectors.
2, 3,
22,
4,
21,
18.
22.
Yes, totally.
Don't
adds up
forget
to
the flash. That's one.
Right.
22 holes. It's amazing. So.
Not over-exaggerating at all, Ron. So you've got the 22 Ultra, also known as the Note reincarnated, because it holds the S Pen in the device. This really is a Note by another name, right? That's exactly what it is.
Yes, it really is just the Note. Everything in this
It's just a Note by any other name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to think about that quote, by the way, and I realized I did not pay attention in Shakespeare at all. Just being honest there. But anyway, so yeah, this is the Ultra. I'm going to do this so we don't do the glare from my screen. But this is the back of the Ultra, and you'll notice it has 5 lens looking like things on the back. They're not all lenses though. Only 4 of them are actual cameras. And I've used them all a lot, extremely extensively. And, I felt like instead of me just rattling off specs, do you guys want to just ask me stuff?
Yeah.
So we can make this, because I've just been living with this and I wrote about it and I'm sick of writing about it. So if you could ask me, that would make it so much easier for me to talk about.
Yeah, because I don't think we need to do the standard, spec rattle off thing. We've been kind of shying away a little bit from that. It's a little mind numbing when we do that.
You can read it on GSM Arena or whatever follow their, phone site you
or Gizmodo.com.
Yeah.
Gizmodo.com.
Yeah, exactly. You probably want to go to Gizmodo.com. Just do a search for Florence Ion. You'll find it. So, right off the top. So I actually earlier today pulled out, I had the Note, I guess it's the last Note. I wish I had brought it in today, but I totally forgot to bring it in. And then this one, and I pulled them out and I literally put them side by side on top of each other. They are the same size. They are the same thickness. The S Pen is in the same spot. So it truly is. This truly is like a Note by a different name.
Is that the one that Leo bought?
How many holes did the other one have, Jason?
Well, yeah. I can't remember if it's the 5 of them. It probably actually is because it's the old, it's the Note as well. So it's their premium. But, obviously it looks different back here. So where do we start with the Note? Is there anything that you realized that you couldn't do with this that you could do with a normal Note, or was it pretty much like a facsimile as far as that's concerned?
Ooh, fax, huh?
Sorry, throwing out old technology that we haven't talked about in decades, but there you go.
No. So here's the thing. I even though I have the Note in my possession and I have access to it, I do not feel like reaching for it, probably because it's not my primary phone. So anyway, I'm not reaching for it. But also the stylus just adds an extra step for me that I'm not interested in adopting into my lifestyle. So it
takes practice. It takes dedication to really get used to using the S Pen and relying on the S Pen. Yeah, I have a hard time with it too. Yeah.
But I will say this, because, I have a lot of note users in my life, and they've figured out how to keep that S Pen so snugly in there that, you do forget that it's there. And then when you remember it's there, it's nice and helpful. So if you're willing to pay the extra, I'm going to say $300, because the Galaxy Note, excuse me. See?
Yeah.
By the way,
okay.
Every review that you read of this, everybody made the same, oh yeah, I kept calling this the Note because those of us who have been, and we've been using this phone for almost a decade.
Yeah.
This model of phone. And so I'm so programmed to call it
it's
that.
just a name. Totally. It's just a different name, same device. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's the ultimate Samsung phone you can buy.
Totally.
And so if you are willing to spend that extra $300, now back to that, it's $1,200 for the 8 gigabyte of RAM version, but do not buy this phone and not get the 12 gigs of RAM. You're wasting your money if you do that. I'm just being honest with you.
I agree.
Get the 12 gigs of RAM. I have only been living and operating with 12 gigs of RAM for the last 2 years, and I'm not going back to 8 because there's just no use to living with the minimum if you're going to spend at least $1,200 on a phone. Just try and find the extra 100 somewhere. I don't know what to tell you. If you're already spending this much, just go get the 256 12 gig version and work your way from there. I think you'll be a lot happier. So I want to start with that piece of advice first.
And that will help on longevity. For whatever reason, longevity is what my brain wanted to do. It's weird being in the studio again. That will help for longevity, especially considering the fact that Samsung announced, 4 full version updates, 5 years of security updates, right? And we're always talking about wanting our phones to last longer, wanting them to get more updates. At the end of the day, if you've maxed out the memory, if you get the Note and you get it maxed out, I have a really hard time believing that 5 years down the line, this thing's not, it's going to be in a way better position if you did that than if you don't. 8 gigs versus 12 is a big difference as far as that's concerned, and will be especially in 5 years.
Yeah, but okay, so we just quickly snapped to my review on Gizmodo.com, and my headline is Samsung's Galaxy S22 Ultra is too much.
Is it too big? Or is it too expensive? What do you mean by too much?
It's too much phone.
It's too much? What do you mean by too much phone?
There's just I was very overwhelmed reviewing this device because there's so much about it that you can, flip through and use, and here's this new S Pen feature, and don't forget we got to try out all the cameras. It took me, I guess let's jump to the cameras. It took me a while to figure out how to use each of these 4 cameras. That 5th little camera lens that looks like a camera lens on the back is a depth sensor of sorts, and it's supposed to help with things like portraiture. Thank you, Jason. Thank God, by the way. Bless you, Leo, for buying the burgundy version, because that is the beautifulest one.
Yeah, actually, I think that's the version that he bought. He has his. This is actually a review unit that a rep from AT&T sent me. So,
how nice of AT&T to send you the burgundy one.
Yeah,
which is very pretty.
It is nice. It is very nice.
Yeah, it's very pretty in person.
I mean, the camera array is really striking. It's really nice. One thing I've noticed is, when I carry this around in my pocket, this thing collects pocket dust around the cameras like nobody's
Michael
business.
Fisher said the same thing. Mr. Mobile was also complaining about the dust. And when I saw he tweeted about that, I took this out of my purse right after I had my goodness, my English. After I read that tweet. And it was covered in dust. I had to clean it meticulously before I took any pictures of it for my review because they were so thick around the edges. And I told, by the way, my mom this because she was like, "Oh, you have the new phone. I've been thinking about buying it." And I told her about this. She's like, "That's okay. I'll just go to it. I'll just clean it every time." It's okay for my mom.
I mean, it's also a large, expensive device, so you probably want to have some sort of, well, maybe you don't, but I would want to have a case on it.
I had a case on it. So, where did I put it?
Yeah, I've got.
Here it is. So I had this cheapy case. They sent me an actual case. I just haven't put it on yet. But I bought this case for $11 on Amazon right when they sent me the review because, I'm scared to like break these things. And as you can see, it cuts out just like around the camera array. So you're still going to get a lot of dust around that. Regardless.
That's true. Still going to collect in there. This is an Incipio case that Incipio sent me for review as well.
Nice
it's kind of like a see-through kind of thing. But, anytime you do that, it really does, like, no matter how you slice it, it eliminates the kind of slenderness of what you have.
That's exactly what I was thinking. As you snap that on, and nothing against Incipio, this is what they do. They're making cases, but it goes from like an elegant modern device to what looks like a bulky, chunky.
Totally.
Like this is why I don't like cases on my phones. Like this is why it's so.
Yeah, in my life, it's a necessary evil.
Well, yeah, because you're like, the drop from your hand to the ground.
Yeah,
it's like two flows.
$1,500 device is going to be shattered glass if I don't do something like this. But yeah, it does. It really does take away the slenderness of it. It takes up more space in the pocket. All that kind of stuff. So that's the trade off. Has the space for the S Pen down there.
Yeah.
So then,
yes.
Well, I was just going to say, so that's kind of the look of the cameras and everything. Mm-hmm. Like I was really excited about the 10x optical zoom, and I played around with it a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, I love me some like good optical zoom on my camera phone. What did you think of the cameras on this device?
They're fine.
They're fine. Okay.
They're fine. Listen, I just finished writing the Galaxy S22 Plus review. I think that is going up tomorrow or something on Gizmodo. And I noticed that, the low light performance of both these devices. Now, they're two different camera sensors. We'll get to that. The one that we're talking about here in the Ultra is a 108 megapixel primary camera. And so what Samsung did with this camera, and this is why it took me a while to figure out this camera system. I actually had a meeting with Samsung after I got this phone to ask them for clarification on it because I had no idea like what I was doing with all these cameras. The 108 megapixel camera, the primary, it does not shoot in 108 megapixels. What it does is it uses the fancy nano-binning technology they talked about, which basically converts, this is how I'm going to try and explain it. It basically converts that camera sensor into like the equivalent of a 12 megapixel with ultra pixels. And then that nano-binning array is like how it collects the data. That's what it relates to. Okay. And so that's what is contributing to these brighter, clearer photos. But Samsung still has a problem with sharpness. Sharpness is something that, especially in the zoom mode, when I zoomed with the Pixel 6 Pro, and that's a maximum 20x digital zoom, I could still get something that I could share to the internet. I did not feel that way with the zoomed in shots I took with the Ultra. And I did a lot of zooming with this thing. As you'll see on screen, I actually zoomed about a mile away to that final photo that you see all the way on the right. That's about a mile away from my back window. And it's really creepy how well you could see inside of people's windows.
That's pretty cool.
It's cool, but also creepy, just the whole privacy implication. Yeah. But let me tell you where it's cool.
Let's be honest, it's cool.
It is. So if you go back to my review of Gizmodo, you'll see that I actually included a picture of the space zoom on the full moon that we had last week. It was pretty incredible. Like my gosh. I was really impressed with how much I got from that shot. This was about 7:30
Wait, you took this photo? You took this photo?
Yes, I took this photo with the Ultra from my...
Describe it for our audio listeners, just so they're aware of what we're looking at here.
So I have two photos spliced next to each other. On the right, there's a photo of the moon, and you can see it as clear as if you were looking at it on a
that's
satellite map.
detailed. That looks
it looks
good.
like a photo. It looks like a photo like in the encyclopedia. It looks like a telescope photo. Like you can see craters and like this is like I cannot believe you took this photo.
I can't either. And I didn't even take it with a tripod, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
I took it just like resting it against the bar of the little balcony I have in my back window. It was really impressive. And that's what so space zoom just means digital zoom. It's just a really kitschy marketing term. And they say it because you can zoom into the moon and take this picture. And it's shareable and it's cool. And then on the other side, too, what I had spliced into that photo was a picture of a Cessna that I saw just like out my window, which I used the space zoom for again. And I was really impressed with, I was able to actually tell the model of the plane and, kind of like look it up. I actually have a closer picture that I didn't include in this, but it was really impressive what you can do with the zoom. So if you're like a nature buff, or a bird watcher, I could see you wanting to buy this Ultra just like for your archival purposes and just for, having that tool on you at all times. It really is good for that.
Well, and if you're in a studio, so go ahead and show my camera, Burke. Okay, so this is wide. This is 1x. This is, what is the next step up? Is it 2 or 4x? It was probably 2x.
3x.
3x, there we go. This is 10x. So this is the optical zoom, which so it's optical, right? So when you go in there, like it's super sharp. Like it's not a digital zoom at that point. And then are you ready for 100x inside of a studio?
Oh boy. Wow, you could look all the way to the back of my sofa.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I have to say, they've improved this feature.
Is that like the monitor that's behind you across the studio all the way? Yeah, it is.
It's
that corner right there on a television about 20, 30 feet away from you.
Yeah, totally. Right. Yeah. So,
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But yeah, so, again, that moon looks really good. I think depending on what you're taking a picture of, if it's something that's really detailed with fine details and everything, that image is still probably going to fall apart. But if it's like a broad kind of thing, at least it's usable. And I remember when this feature first came out, 2 or 3 years ago, it was kind of laughable. But we even said at the time, like, all right, this is one of those features that every year they're going to iterate and they're going to improve. And at some point, we're going to be impressed by the quality of this. And I think it's getting there. It's getting pretty impressive that they can do that with 100x digital zoom. That's pretty crazy.
Now, I want to quickly, Burke, before you load that on screen, let me just preface by saying this. Okay, so you can take a picture of the moon. You could take a picture of a Cessna. You could take a picture of your neighbor's house a mile away. But the night mode, it still has such limitations compared to the Google Pixel 6 Pro, which is the one I tested it against. Same camera system on the Pixel 6. Because Google puts all of the software smarts in there that tells the lens, it says, stay open for up to 4 minutes. And after about 10 seconds, it'll let you stop taking the photo. And then you can let it just keep going for up to 4 minutes. Samsung doesn't do that. It has a maximum shutter open situation that it'll offer to you up to 30 seconds so far. So, Burke, if you wouldn't mind loading this picture on screen so I can show you what the Pixel 6 Pro did last night. It took this animation last night, like of the rain clouds that were moving through.
So this was the Pixel 6? Is that right? Okay.
It's Pixel 6 Pro. Never got anything like this from the Ultra, and it was really disappointing. I could do some cool things with like the expert RAW mode and with the little manual mode that they have, but it never came out something like this. And this is something, by the way, that the camera just spit out automatically on the Pixel. And it just goes down to, it really is a lot of the software doing the work now. It doesn't really matter what you see on the spec sheet. What is the software doing? And Samsung's still working on that.
So what we're looking at, because it's easy to think that's daytime. That's actually dark nighttime. Is that right?
This is 10:30 p.m. at night last night while it was raining.
Wow.
And you can, by the way, if you
I would not guess that.
Look at this, you can actually see the stars above the clouds. It's
I saw a little bit of them poking through. Yeah. It's pretty impressive. I mean, it's a little blurry. I don't know if that's what that is. It kind of looks. The
problem with all these night modes, guys, it's hard to get a focus point in the dark.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Cameras will do their best in every situation, but If you're into astrophotography, just buy yourself a really
Right.
You don't need to. Don't buy yourself a smartphone for this. Come on.
But it's cool that you
nice
can.
for,
It's
like,
cool that you can
camping.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Neat. Okay.
Some things to consider.
Yeah. So cameras kind of like, in some ways, really seems like it wowed you. In other ways, it's kind of like, okay, well, you can still do better, which kind of seems to be the Samsung thing with cameras, which is not to say that their cameras are bad, but I feel like with Samsung's cameras, it's like they're always almost the best. You know what I mean? It's like they're right there, but still, at least in the Android world, I feel like Google still ekes it out somehow, over Samsung's wide array of cameras on the back. You have a lot more flexibility with Samsung cameras, but in some situations, it's just not as easy to use, or the quality just isn't quite as good as what you get on the Pixel. That's been my experience anyways.
Yep.
I agree. I am going to end this by saying, there are two other phones, too, that Samsung launched alongside, the S22 Plus and the S22 Reg. That's not what it's called. I just call it the Reg for regular.
Why not the Reg?
I know. I should have said it like that. I really like this. I like this phone and everything that it can do. Genuinely,
Yeah.
I would wield this, but it's too big. So I think this Plus might be more to people's liking.
Okay. And that's
Slightly different camera system.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
less holes.
Strikingly different, right? Like three
and they're flush
versus-
too with the back.
Yep.
Looks like
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah, that doesn't look offensive. Not that the other one looks offensive, but like it looks inoffensive, where the other one looks borderline.
Kind of like too big. The other one.
Yeah,
I mean,
too big.
The
Too
Ultra
much.
really looks like a different family of phones by comparison.
It does.
Right?
It
the
does.
the S22 and the 22 Plus look like they're cut from the same cloth. The Ultra actually looks like a completely different phone, which lends more credence to the fact that it is a different phone. It's a Note. It's not an S22. But
You know how car manufacturers build like different models at different plants. So
Yeah. Sure. Yeah,
the Ultra
maybe it's
comes from the
something like
Note
that.
plant.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You're probably exactly right. So the S22 Plus you have in hand, are you working on a review on that? Like, is that something that people can look forward to?
Probably tomorrow on Gizmodo. I think tomorrow being Wednesday, you're listening to this on a Tuesday night, most likely. And I'll give you the TLDR. It's very possible this might be my next phone.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Because I don't like the Pixel.
Yes, we know. And that's okay. You don't have
I
to.
love the camera system. I don't like the actual phone though. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
You don't have to be sorry.
This is just what happened to me this year. Part of the reason I like this is because I actually like the way the iPhone 13 looks. But there's no way in hell I'm touching that. So
and that the design of that gets you closer to the design of the iPhone 13?
I like how mainstream this is. I don't even care. I'm saying it. I like how this is such a cute pinkish rose gold in person. Imagine how cute this would look with probably more case offerings than what is for
Hello
the
Kitty
Pixel.
stuff on it.
Yeah.
Leave me alone, Burke.
I like Hello Kitty.
You better like Hello Kitty because I paid $2 for each of these. For each of these.
Oh,
What are they? The background themes? Oh, they're themes. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
the One UI.
Oh, I don't know about
So
Well, so then that's a lot to look forward to. If you're kind of declaring this might be your next smartphone, then folks should definitely be on the lookout for whatever you publish. When did you say you were going to publish that? That's soon. That maybe tomorrow.
probably tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I know, because the thing is sometimes you just want something that
Yeah.
is reliable.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no doubt about it. The Ultra lives up to its name, right? And it did in the S20 realm. It did in the Note 20 Ultra realm. I mean, they call it Ultra for a reason. It's like everything. It's like everything in the kitchen
ultimate.
sink, and it's huge. So if you're getting it, you got to expect, this is a massive device. And yes, it's capable of a lot, but it might just be capable of more than you actually need. So just keep that in mind. Just because it's top of the line doesn't
Exactly.
mean it's the right one for you. So yeah, cool. Well, that's a good walkthrough. Thank you, Flo.
Thanks for letting me work that out on you guys. I mean, this is all I've been studying for the last week and a half.
The S22 on 2/22/22.
I love how that might have to be the title, actually.
I think it's got to be. Yeah. It's meant to be.
Yeah. All right. Maybe we'll do that. Okay. All right. We are not going to just rest on those hardware laurels. No, we've got more coming up next.
So much more. Do we have another bumper? Do we have more hardware bumper?
No.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Fine. We'll do it. Oh, there we go.
All right, sure.
Burke. Thanks, Burke.
Burke's like, yeah, we do. I want to push this button.
He's got more bumpers up in the bell tower than he knows what to do with. Yeah. So, all right. So staying on the Samsung tip of the S Pen, the Galaxy Z Fold 3 supported a special version of the S Pen. The problem, though, was that it had nowhere to live in the device, which required a special case for docking the S Pen. Well, the Galaxy Z Fold 4 could change that, according to a report from the Elec. There will be a silo inside the device for the S Pen because an external case is just silly. But fair question is, how much thickness will this add to the device? Right, is it going to make it that more chunky? You gotta at least fit the thickness of the pen plus around it for the silo itself. The report says the displays will be about the same as the Z Fold 3. So that also means the outer display will continue to be tall and narrow. And so imagine in your mind's eye the Galaxy Z Fold 3, but with a silo to carry the S Pen. Does anybody really want the S Pen? That's what I don't understand. I don't know. I'm not an S Pen person, but I've never walked a mile in its shoes. But like, if you have this, I feel like the Z Fold 3 or a Z Fold 4, if you're a Z Fold user, I feel like the S Pen is not in your Venn diagram. I feel like those are two things that don't connect, but that's just me. I don't know. What do you guys
it's
think?
a larger space to, if you truly use your S Pen for like arty things, it's a larger screen to use that with. Maybe there's going to be a Z Fold 4 and a Z Fold 4 Ultra. Like maybe they take the Ultra and go with the Z Fold direction and say, hey, here's one with the S Pen that docks in it. Because you're right, not everybody that wants the Z Fold is going to want the S Pen. So that's, I don't know if it's going to tack on cost. It could definitely tack on thickness. And when you're talking about the foldable devices, like that's what my mind immediately jumps to is when that sucker is folded up, that thing is huge. And if you're talking about a little bit huger so that you can fit an S Pen in the design, I don't know. Like that you're talking a huge brick that you have to carry around at that point. So
they need to figure something else out. I don't understand why they can't just do what they did with the Ultra, the 22 Ultra. Just have it go into the phone.
You mean on the Z Fold?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, it sounds like that's what they're trying to do is have it go into the phone. But
my understanding is that it was just going to be a case.
No. That's the way it was. Remember, that's the way it was with the Z Fold 3.
Yes.
It had the case with the S Pen, and it was just like wonky and weird, and like it really felt tacked on. Like, yes, there's support, but like it didn't feel like a unified thing. And I think that's what where they're headed with the Z Fold 4. But
you got to make use of that tablet size, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, look at how much they're pushing the Tab S line.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uncle Bick in the chat room says that, I love the pen. I use it all the time. It is so fast for note taking. So maybe Uncle Bick will be one of the ones getting the Z Fold 4 with an S Pen dock in it as well. I don't know. I'll be curious to see. Also, the other part that doesn't really work for me with the Z Fold and the S Pen is that the S Pen works on the inside but doesn't work on the outside. When I think of a note, I think of pulling out the phone real quick and jotting it right down, not having to like unfold this massive thing in order to do it. I don't know. It kind of falls apart for me there a little bit, but I'm not the target audience or market for that.
But my question is, who is? That's what I want to know. If you are, email us at AAA@twit.tv. Let us know if you are, because I want to know who it is. Because it's not me. It's not Jason. Flo, is it you? Are you the target audience for that? Is it Burke? Is it Victor? Is it Scooter X? Who is it? I want to know.
Who are you? Who are you?
Write us in. Hear it all about Android.
AAA@twit.tv.
It's not me.
It's not Berg. While we're talking about rumory things, and then we'll get to an actual thing, but the Pixel 7 and the 7 Pro, that's right. We're starting to talk about the next Pixel after the 6, and, it's probably not going to release until the end of the year, so we got a ways to wait. So this could get a little confusing, but we'll start with the easy stuff first. 9 to 5 Google has some details. They were scouring through the Android 13 developer preview, and we already kind of knew that the Pixel 7 was likely going to have a new version of the Tensor chip, the next generation. That's almost entirely confirmed at this point, according to 9 to 5 Google. But also they have confirmed that it's going to have an updated Samsung modem. So their guess is the Exynos modem 5300. I'm not entirely sure where they came up with that. It's currently unannounced modem, but it will get an updated modem. Hopefully that improves on some of the connectivity. That is another thing that we didn't talk about with the S22 series. I've heard from a few people who say that the reception on that, like the mobile data reception on that, is better than any phone that they've had. Like I used my old phone in this building and I could hardly get any connectivity, but with the Samsung phone, I'm getting tons of it. And so I don't know what the differences are there, but or if that's just totally anecdotal. But anyways, maybe the Pixel will have that too with this modem. But this is very interesting. Some codename fun. The Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, we know, were the Oriole and the Raven, both birds, right? And now 9 to 5 Google says the Pixel 6a, which is going to be coming out sometime in the near future, is referred to as Blue Jay, so also a bird. It also appears that the Pixel Notepad, which is the Pixel foldable if and when it ever releases, is the Pipit. And, I actually don't know off the top of my head if the Pipit is a bird, but I'm going to do a quick Google search because I think that it is. Yes, the American Pipit is a bird, in fact. So that says that the next the foldable Pixel is a bird, right? So just put that on the side for a second. The Pixel 7 and the 7 Pro appear to be cheetah and panther. Cats. Different. They were birds. Now they're cats. What does this mean? It seems to imply that devices in the 2021 to 2022 era are birds, and that the 2022 to 2023 era are cats. That seems to tell me that we're going to have a Pixel foldable sometime this year. It's like it's going to happen. If it's a bird, it's happening this year. What do you think?
I like that. I like that a lot.
So there you go. And also, if it was birds and then it was cats, will the next one be dogs? Because B, C, D? I don't know. Did that just blow your mind?
Wow. Okay, so E would be what? Eels? Elephants?
Yeah, I don't know.
Egrets.
Egrets?
Oh, those birds, though. Those are birds.
Yes, those are birds.
Yeah.
I know that was confusing, but it was fun nonetheless. So there we go. That's all I have to say about the Pixel 7. There's really not a whole lot there.
That's it?
Okay.
That's it. But Flo, you got the fun one. This is good. This is a good one to sink your teeth
into. Is this
into.
fun? Have the rumors of the OnePlus 10 Pro's foldability been greatly exaggerated? Because so I don't know if anybody saw the video from Jerry Rig Everything, but I watched part of it and
it's hard.
I was astounded that anybody would willfully cut up a smartphone.
It's what he does. It's his thing.
I know. But I'm still like, disaster videos are not my thing. Let's just put it that way. Too much for me. But, okay. So Zach did the scratch test. All right. Scratching here, scratching there. Of course, we expect this. And then Zach bended it. Yeah.
Wow.
The first two flexes, the device bent nearly 90 degrees to the point where, yes, folks, it did almost look like a Galaxy Z Flip 3. Okay?
It really does.
Wow.
It did. It looked like it was supposed to be folding that way. And we saw
OnePlus
because
10 Pro. Now,
because he took it apart, we got to see that the battery makes up the bottom half of the device. There's a camera module on the top half, and there's also an empty space in between that part, which is why it was able to bend. But oh my God, the flash that was in that video was so bright. So what we generally got from all of this is that the OnePlus 10 Pro has a really bright flash. That's what you need to know about this phone.
The flash turns on when he's bending it. Yeah, it's 7:43 is when he actually bends it, and we see the it's right about here.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, that is not good. Now of course, no one should take out their phone and do this, and that's where a lot of people who see videos like this are like, well, yeah, if I bend any phone, it's going to break. But this actually does tell you a little something, right? Because he starts to kind of peel things away, and it kind of shows the design inside of this device is such that the battery takes up a certain portion, the camera module takes up the rest, and the separation in between, there's no stability. There's no sort of like, I don't know, there's not enough frame there. I'm not sure what you do to fill that space on other phones to keep it from doing this, but that's bad. Like that, it's pretty heartbreaking to see that.
Heartbreaking. Oh, there it is. That moment where he pushes the video we're watching, where he takes it apart, and the moment where it breaks is just like it. I shuddered. Like it was. It's just so man.
That was his first attempt to kind of see what happens, and then the second one is where it just. It basically snaps in two, and on a flagship device, like they should be built. My opinion.
Let me say something purely anecdotal.
All right.
Okay. I'm just going to caveat with that.
We're full of those today.
So, I've been reviewing this phone, and I was holding it yesterday to the phone that I usually hold, which is the OnePlus 9. And this one has a case on it, but I hold it anyway.
And by this phone, you're talking about the S22 Plus, right?
Excuse me. Yes, the S22 Plus. Apologies to the audio listeners that I need to remember to do that. I was holding it both to my face and sort of just like feeling the relative density. The Samsung feels a little more just solid, like reinforced, I should say.
That's the word I was looking for. Reinforced, yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's just like a OnePlus manufacturing thing that they do.
Yeah, I don't know, or a lesson they haven't quite learned yet, or I'm not really quite sure. But yeah, it's true that some devices just feel more fragile in certain ways than others. And again, you're never going to pick up your phone and actually do this. But if something happens that would put stress on that area of the device, this at least shows you like this phone has a weakness. It has a weak point to it. You just got to be careful around that weak point, because holy cow, it could just snap in half if you aren't. So, anyways, he probably suffers from a lot of pieces of glass in his fingers. I hadn't really thought of that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that while watching that too. I was just like, oh my.
Yeah, that's kind of painful. All right, why don't we jump into a little bit of app news before we get to your email? That's right now.
Just a little bit of apps, just a taste of apps.
Just a taste of apps. And, those of you that email every once in a while say you miss the arena. I know, I get it. We don't talk about apps as much. You're right. We don't.
By the way, has that come around now? Have we gone full circle from the arena is tired to now I miss the arena? How long did it take?
I think there's just some people that really liked the arena and wish it was still around, and some people who are happy it's gone.
I would be open to a periodic revisiting of the arena if we wanted to plan for it.
All right. Yeah. We could do that.
Like maybe a monthly type thing or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
dip our toes in. Yeah.
I don't know. I find myself feeling disconnected from the world of apps in the way that I was when we were picking them out for the arena.
So true.
That said, I also do not miss frantically looking for an app on Tuesday mornings.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Indeed. All of those things. I totally agree. Well, if we did have an arena, I would, and it was out on Android yet, which it looks like it's not, but I would want to bring Shortwave, which was an app that was making the rounds for people like me who loved Google Inbox. And oh man, I miss Inbox. There's just certain things that Inbox did that I just can't replicate with Gmail nearly as effectively. Well, this app called Shortwave was actually created by ex-Googlers, and it really seems to kind of carry the Inbox torch. They've included bundles, So, bundles are like updates or promotions or social. Basically, it dynamically in real time, as emails come in, can detect which category a certain email probably falls under. And I found with Inbox that it was really good at picking those apart and understanding my email. It basically helps kind of get you to think of your email differently than just a stream of random messages that have nothing to do with each other. It grouped them as Shortwave does, and then allows you to do some really neat things with them. For example, Shortwave also includes a sweep button, which basically takes multiple emails in a section, so in a bundle. So let's say I received 10 emails that were automatically, put into the updates category, and I could just, with a single button, dismiss them all. And that might sound like an easy thing, and you could do a little bit of this in Gmail if you select all that you're looking at and then mark all as read or whatever. It's different because it's based on a bundle versus everything. I don't know. It's just different. The way it did it before with Inbox was just awesome. And I'm just so much slower in Gmail. So maybe Shortwave's the way to go. The only problem is it launched on iOS. There is an Android version in the works. It's a work
beta.
It's a work in progress beta, but it's not native. It's using site code. The iOS version is native. The Android version apparently is not. So I don't know if, maybe it'll be fine once it releases, but I'm kind of
and this goes back to the economic stuff like that, or looking at their pricing. It's free to start. And but with that you get the inbox design, the real-time email, which I find fascinating. It's like what is not real-time email? What is the alternative? But then this is what got me, which is and this is smart for them, 90-day search and email history. So
for free,
for free, but only 90 days of history, right? And some limited team features, and then you can pay $9 a month, and you get everything from free, and that gives you unlimited search and email history. And the one thing, if Gmail has done anything to us, and I found this out the hard way at my day job, where we're actually Shutter on Outlook. And Microsoft Office 365, and additionally, at a big corporation that that doesn't allow you to keep email because of legal reasons and all stuff like that. Gmail has instilled in me a archive that goes back to 2004 of emails that I can find at any given moment just by searching.
Yeah.
And the idea of not having that anymore scares the bejesus out of me, right? Because you want that history. Where was that? Oh, I sent that email to somebody back in 2016. Where was it? I can find it, right? Yeah. And so any sort of email option that limits that history for me is a deal breaker. So if I was going to go with this, I would pay the $9 a month just to get that unlimited history because it's so valuable.
Although you could go free, because it's not like with this app you're no longer you lose all that stuff, right? Like you'll still have it in Gmail. It's just you won't be able to search beyond the 90 days within this app. So if you really found yourself in that position, like when I think about it, am I referring to emails on a regular daily basis that are older than 90 days? I don't know that I am.
True, that's a good point.
They're pretty much all.
It could be the hoarder in me, maybe. But
yeah, no, I totally. I'm very much the same way. That really only occurred to me now, because earlier when I saw that, I was like, well, I'd have to do the paid version. But when I was thinking about it now, as you were talking, I was like, well, wait a minute. I don't really refer to those older than 90-day emails that often anyways. They'll still be there. I could still open up Gmail in another window and find it.
Yeah. This reminds me, because while we're on email, and Burke, I dropped a link in the doc if you want to share it for our video viewers, but there was another new approach to email called Hey, that was by the people from that did Basecamp and stuff like that I love, and in fact, I think I brought this to the arena before we set the arena down. And I love their approach to it, and it's a different, kind of, inbox-esque kind of stuff and that sort of thing. But I'm not using it because it's all you set up your email domain for it. It's a Gmail replacement. Shortwave works on top of Gmail, where Hey is just a different mail provider. And I just, I'm not ready to sacrifice, all the Google app suites that, the Docs and all that sort of stuff just to get this activity. But, if email is important to you, Shortwave looks really interesting. Hey looks really interesting. There are other alternatives out there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Shortwave's something to check out. I'll certainly be checking it out and see. And yeah, I suppose I can let you know how that goes.
Let us know.
Let you know on this show called All About Android. All right. Up next, we'll read some of your emails. AAA at twit.tv, 347-SHOW-AAA. And Ron, you have the first one.
I do. Our first one, our long distance dedication, comes in from Mike in Dubai, which is awesome. And I think more people should be telling us where you're writing in from, because I want a map of the All About Android community.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, so yeah, exactly. And Mike from Dubai says, I'm a little behind on my All About Android, but I watched the February 9th episode and appreciated the discussion over the Moto Stylus G. I'm trying to get a new work phone. I've been advocating for a Moto. My office IT department refuses to look at Android, mostly out of laziness. Oh boy, brother, I can relate to that. But use the excuse, it's not secure. My boss pushed me to the iPhone 12 for the sake of longevity. I unfortunately can't argue on that point. My only issue with my iPhone 8 is the 5-year-old battery. Otherwise, it's fine for my use of Office 365 and not much else. I want to save money and just get a Moto, but with only 2 years of security updates, I know it's a losing argument. Android OEMs are really missing out on the corporate market, especially at the mid and low end. Yeah, a $300 Moto is cheaper than the cheapest iPhone, but that discount fades away if you need to replace it every year or two.
Fair.
Which is true, and that's a point of view that is real. That is, you look at IT departments, and they're looking at things like service, longevity. They don't want to replace your device in so much time and all that sort of stuff. And that's why a lot of these, and the thing is that the mid to lower tier phone is meant to be almost disposable. They're going to come out with a new model every year, and when that battery stops performing, or when the software updates or security updates stop going, you just get the new one because it is so cheaper. So it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
So
yeah, indeed. Great point, and thank you for continuing the All About Android legacy in Dubai. Appreciate it. We've got people all over the world. Dubai, Woodland, California. Such is the case with Paul. Where is Woodland? Is that Southern California? I'm not sure. Anyways, Paul.
I feel it is. It sounds like Southern. Yeah.
Paul, it's good to have you here. You're in good company.
No,
Paul,
guys, it's north.
Is it?
It's north.
Yeah,
there it
it's
is.
in YOLO
It sounds
County.
like it would be north.
Oh, YOLO. Okay. I always chuckle when I drive through YOLO. There was a few years ago, YOLO, was probably happening because when YOLO was the thing on the internet. Anyways, Paul writes in to say, I write to offer a bit of a counterpoint to the praise that Samsung is getting for keeping its phones up to date. My unlocked S10e, purchased in November 2019 from Best Buy, is, as of February 2021, still on One UI 3.1. That's Android 11 with the December security patch. The last update was January 13th. I started out on AT&T, but I'm currently on Verizon prepaid. Verizon's website shows that a Verizon-specific S10e phone update with One UI 4, that's Android 12, and January security patches were released on January 14th. The next most recent update was released on December 8th with the November security patch. On February 9th, the February security patch was released. So, it appears that Samsung, not the carriers, is serving updates for unlocked phones, and they are doing so more slowly than the carriers, leaving me 2 months behind on security patches, not good, and still on Android 11. Second-class citizen, Samsung should release the updates to its unlocked phones at the same time they release them to the carriers. I suppose some praise for Verizon for so quickly turning out the updates is in order, but come on, Samsung, let's get on the ball. Yeah, that would kind of suck to have like the unlocked version. Am I reading that right? Has the unlocked version not getting the updates, but then the carrier versions are getting the update? That's so backwards from the way it normally happens. I wonder why that's the case. It doesn't make sense to me that it would work like that.
I'm sure it has to do with like a routing situation or something of the sort.
Priority or something, yeah.
I definitely feel Paul on just the frustrations with, I'm on a prepaid plan. Like, why am I not getting a little more, why am I not on the same timeline as people who are in a contract? Yeah. And that is
strange.
That is super strange. And there was something else I was going to say. Oh, yeah, this just feels also too just like very Verizon, just from my experience of being with Big Red for so long.
very Verizon to send out the updates
to just like have this absolute disparity between models and phones. It's just very.
Yeah, it's just this is so opposite to my experience, which has been if you have the unlocked, you get the updates right away. But
I also have like a little theory, and this is not backed by anything, but Samsung really has to make these phones appeal to people who are going to the carriers to buy them. And I wonder if there's just like no pressure on stuff like software updates, because at the end of the day, that's like not the bottom line. The bottom line is how many of these devices are pushed through the door.
Yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, I think that what you just described there is a large part of the problem with the way the Android smartphone industry operates, right? It's always been this like huge push to just get out device after device after device, and the longer term support of those devices has always kind of fell to the wayside because there's the next big device push that's right around the corner, and I don't think that's really changed a whole lot. There are some companies that manage that better, but if a company is putting out a lot of phones, like a part of me is not surprised that they don't support all of their phones with equal, footing. They have to prioritize. They only have so many people working on these things. That's not to excuse it, but I get why it happens, and there needs to be more foresight around that. No question. So deep breaths, and then Flo, you have the honors.
I, first of all, just really want to appreciate that y'all left me to read this week's email of the week. Thank you, Burke. So I'm excited about this one. Okay, so this one comes from Antonis. Antonis. And I apologize if I said your name. Please feel free to correct. Now, I'm writing this email to express my annoyance at the way Android tablets are getting dismissed from every conversation. Unfortunately, mainstream media, mainly in the US, push Apple's marketing about the iPad, productivity, PC replacement, apps. I'm tired of listening to people, even guests of the show, that Android doesn't work on a tablet. Yes, the iPad has the better apps. Yes, you can do more with it, but what are actually the use cases for a tablet? It's a 90% entertainment. Here's a link to the most used apps on an iPad. Kudos to Apple for convincing people that they need to pay $1,000+ to watch Netflix and play silly games. I own both iPads and Android tablets. I'm using them exactly the same way. Web browsing, YouTube, streaming apps. All I'm saying is that Android tablets are perfectly fine for the casual user, and they don't need the specialized app that a developer or a graphic designer or an editor is using. These people can buy an iPad, but not everyone has to. I agree. I agree with you, Antonis, because that's why Samsung is trying to kind of sell us all back on the Android tablet. And not just Samsung. Lenovo has been doing it too. Look at their
Lenovo's
P series.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're big on it. On it.
Exactly. I think what worked for Apple really well is that they also had the accessories that went with it. Because if you look at the accessories that Samsung's offering, like they are costing the same. Tab S8 Ultra which by the way is the laptop sized one, is a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of money.
Oh yeah. That's not a cheap tablet. What is that? Like $1,100 for the Tab S8 Ultra? It's starting $1,100 or $1,200.
Yeah.
I mean, that's you have to know why you need that tablet or what you're getting that for in order to drop that kind of money on an Android tablet, right? And maybe if you're in the Samsung ecosystem and you are a Samsung, you love Samsung devices. I mean, you're getting a quality device. There's no doubt about it. That tablet is really nice.
That price is the ultra specialized version. Like to do that, it's like so niche. It's like crazy. Like even more than an iPad.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh.
How expensive do iPads get?
It's also like a 14-inch.
Yeah, right. It's huge
Device.
Right.
Yeah.
So the iPad Pro would be the comparison model, right? The iPad Pro 12.9 gets you...
Which, by the way, has an M1 processor in it, just like the MacBook Pros.
Right.
So there is a architecture thing going on there that is,
True, right? And so there you're starting at $1,200 for the iPad Pro for the large screen size. So price-wise, they are pretty on par. Samsung's saying... If you're wanting an iPad Pro, this is another alternative. Apples to oranges, but anyway. So yeah.
I just building off of what Antonis wrote in. I just looked to see what the top paid apps were, expecting to see some. Because I do believe that there is a portion of iPad users that are in the productivity side of things because Apple has convinced them with their Apple Pen and all this sort of stuff, right? But to be honest, I'm looking at the rankings of the top paid apps, and it's not that much different in terms of just like kind of crapware or games or things like that. I'm looking for some like drawing app or some sort of thing like that comes with it. But I'm also not well versed with the core set of applications that Apple gives you, kind of stock with an iPad versus what you get stock with a Android tablet.
No,
right? Like,
yeah.
Is there a level of productivity because Apple has invested in like, this is our productivity apps for the iPad optimized for that, where you're just getting Gmail on a tablet, you know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? Like I'm wondering, I think, the free apps and the paid apps and the external apps and app developers are a thing to consider, but also what is the out of the box experience with both devices and what are the differences?
Man, I'm looking at the top 50 paid iPad apps. And I mean, okay, so the second one is GoodNotes 5, which is a productivity app. Outside of that, the top 32 of those things are games. They're games and educational games, right? And many of these, like, all the Toca Life stuff, because I have kids, I know, I'm very familiar with the Toca Life stuff. Heads Up, Five Nights at Freddy's, Geometry Dash. I mean, these things are all on Android. Guaranteed you could throw that on an Android tablet and it's probably going to play just fine. Okay, maybe not guaranteed. I actually don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty certain. Minecraft is at the top of that list, and that's going to work on an Android tablet. So, he's got a good point. I mean, a lot of these apps that are in that top tier probably run, I'm guessing, reasonably well on an Android tablet. It's not like they require a whole lot of, futzing around to make it look different. I don't know. Maybe they do, but
is the other difference too.
What's that?
People use the iPad for art, the iPad Pro.
Yeah, that's
really the only one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's kind of the point is like, okay, but that's a select few people, like compared to the massive majority that are buying games like this to get in the top 50 of all time, what I mean? So sure, the iPad might be the right device for an artist, but maybe an Android tablet is the right tablet for everyone else who just wants to play casual games. And I think that's kind of Antonis's point. And it has $1,200 to spend. But I mean, so there you go. So it's a good point. So there you go, Antonis.
Thank you, Antonis, for sending that in, because you were this week's email of the week.
And you can walk around the world in which you live and just scream it from the rooftops and say, I was the email of the week on All About Android.
It was me.
And maybe just,
if only we knew where you were from.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to assume that you're either somewhere in Dubai or Woodland, California.
Yes, one or the other. That's where all our fans are. All right, we have reached the end of this episode of All About Android. It's been a ton of fun. It's great to be back in the studio. It feels different. I feel more awake, so that's good. And it's great to have you back, Flo. Always a pleasure getting you on the show. Thank you for hanging tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So what do you want to leave people with? I know you've got the S22 Plus review on the horizon. Anything else you want to leave people with?
Ultra just posted anything you need from me at gizmodo.com. You can find at the handy URL of flowrights.tech. That actually takes you directly to my author page at gizmodo.com. So that'll help you go find my byline. Nice. And then for everything else is florenceion.com.
There you go. That's all you need to know. Thank you, Flo. We'll see you again next month. Ron, what about you? What's new in your world?
In my fun world, you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at RonXO. But I mentioned it last week and worked a ton this weekend, and we released the new version of the Scorebit app, the Scorebit mobile app for pinball.
Nice.
Super excited. Version 1.2. It was so big we moved it up a point release. Previously we were at version 1.1. I think we're on 10 or 9, but we said this is so big, let's go to 1.2. Super excited about it. If you play pinball, there's a lot of cool stuff in there. We revamped our challenges system so you can challenge your friends to beat your score. We made improvements to our achievements and a bunch of bug fixes and things like that. So we're really super excited about it. So you can go download it in the Google Play Store. If you're into pinball, it helps you find places to play pinball. It's fun ways to play with connected pinball machines that are connected to the internet. It's all in all, have a fun time. Have fun, play pinball. That's all I want to tell you. So
there you go.
Go to scorebit.io for more info, or it's in the Google Play Store.
Right on.
I think we have a decent rating, to be honest with you. I think we don't have many reviews because we're a very niche, app. But if I'm looking at our Google Play Store listing,
they should be excellent, I would think.
We have a 4.5,
nice.
Which is fantastic, which I'm happy with.
Yeah,
so,
be happy with that. That's good.
Yeah.
Right on.
I'll take it.
Cool.
So.
Congrats on the release.
Thanks.
Yeah. And thank you to Burke, of course, in the studio. No longer in the what were we saying? Where was Burke hiding? I can't remember. The hermit
bell
hole,
tower.
The bell tower. There we go. No longer in the bell tower. He's come out to hang out, and we appreciate it, Burke.
I was trying to make hunchback noises, and then I'm like, I don't know what a hunchback sounds like.
Right. Yeah. Be careful. That might sound a little weird. Depending on. Oh, well, there you go. Never mind. Play that all day long. I don't care. Big thanks also to Victor behind the scenes, churning out all the edits and publishing and all that stuff to bring this show to you each and every week. Appreciate you. Couldn't do it without you, Victor, so thank you. Find me on Twitter at Jason Howell. Of course, I do other shows on the network, Tech News Weekly and Interviews show along with my co-host, Micah Sargent. That's twit.tv/TNW. A lot of fun. I always learn something new on that show. And finally, twit.tv/clubtwit. Why do you need to remember that? Well, because if you like our shows, but you don't want ads in the shows, well, you can go to that URL. You can pay $7 a month, and you'll get all of our shows with no ads. You'll also get exclusive Twit Plus podcast content. It's a special feed that only you have access to, you and other members. And you get access to the members-only Discord. And Ant Pruitt has been managing that and just killing it. He's doing all this extra content and interviews and fun stuff for our Club Twit members. So twit.tv/clubtwit. Check it out for yourself. And otherwise, twit.tv/AAA is our show page on the web. That's where you can go to subscribe to this show. We publish every Tuesday evening. So subscribe, then you don't have to think about it, and it'll appear like RSS magic, the magic that it actually is. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this ultra version of All About Android. We'll see you all next time on All About Android. Bye, everybody. Two. Flo's got two phones.
Did you spend a lot of money on your brand new smartphone and then you look at the pictures on Facebook and Instagram and you're like, what in the world happened to that photo? Yes, you have. I know. It happens to all of us. Well, you need to check out my show, Hands On Photography, where I'm going to walk you through simple tips and tricks that are going to help make you get the most out of your smartphone camera or your DSLR or mirrorless, whatever you have, and those shots are going to look so much better, I promise you. So make sure you're tuning in to twit.tv/hop for Hands On Photography to find out more.